West Delhi in the late 90s was a landscape of dusty gully matches, where every square inch of pavement was contested territory. In this environment, a 9-year-old boy arrived at a local academy with an ambition that far exceeded his physical size. He demonstrated a specific kind of defiance from day one. He flatly refused to play in the junior groups, constantly pestering Coach Sharma to let him face the older boys. He wanted to see if his technique held up against players twice his size. At the time, the path to professional cricket was blocked by a system where influence and family connections mattered as much as a cover drive. Bribes and favoritism were the hidden tax on pure talent. When Virat was initially passed over for a regional team, his father, Prem, gave him a directive that would define the rest of his career. He told his son that he had to become so statistically excellent, so undeniably superior, that the selectors would have no choice but to name him. From that point on, excellence was a survival tactic. He approached every match as an opportunity to produce numbers that the system couldn't ignore. By December 2006, an 18-year-old Virat was batting for the Delhi state team in the Ranji Trophy. He ended the first day on 40 not out, carrying the weight of a team that needed a massive score to avoid defeat the next morning. At 2:30 that morning, his world changed in an instant. His father, the man who had driven him to every practice and defended his talent, died suddenly from a brain stroke. Virat faced a choice that most adults would struggle to make. He could stay with his family to mourn, or he could honor the commitment to his teammates and his father's expectations for his career. He chose to play. He returned to the stadium, gritted his way through a pressurized 90 runs to save the match, and only left the ground to attend his father's cremation after the innings was over. That 24-hour window anchored his focus. The childhood stubbornness to face older bowlers had evolved into an indestructible commitment to the dream he and his father had shared. Early success followed quickly, with an under-19 World Cup win and an IPL contract, but it brought a new set of risks. The sudden stardom introduced him to a lifestyle of late-night parties and a diet heavy on junk food that began to catch up with him. During the 2012 season, he had a moment of clarity while looking in the mirror. He realized his physical conditioning was lagging behind the elite global standards set by the Australians, and that his current habits would never allow him to lead the sport. He was fighting a long-standing belief in Indian cricket that heavy weight training was counterproductive. The common theory was that lifting would make players too stiff and ruin their flexibility at the crease. Kohli ignored the tradition. He adopted an intense weightlifting regimen and eliminated sugar from his diet. The resulting shift in his power and recovery times proved the old theories were broken. When he took over the leadership of the national team, he institutionalized this change. He made the high-intensity yo-yo fitness test a non-negotiable requirement for every player, effectively raising the athletic floor for the entire country. He had rebuilt his body into a high-performance machine, but physical dominance alone couldn't protect him from a professional breakdown on the world's biggest stage. That breakdown arrived during the 2014 tour of England. It was a catastrophic phase where his technique failed him completely, leading to a string of low scores that felt impossible to escape. The public scrutiny was relentless. Critics ignored his past achievements and focused instead on his tattoos, his aggression, and his lifestyle, suggesting he was too distracted to succeed in the longest format of the game. During this period of intense isolation, Anushka Sharma became a vital source of perspective. She helped him navigate the transition from a player seeking constant external validation to one who found stability in his own routine. Under her influence, he learned to detach from the media noise and the social media cycle. He focused on emotional grounding and the patience required to survive a slump without losing his identity. This period completed his evolution. By the time he returned to form, he had paired his physical intensity with a mental resilience that could withstand both public failure and massive success. The Kohli sitting in the dugout today is a study in controlled intensity. He still possesses the drive that fuels him as a teenager, but it is now directed by a much calmer internal compass. We saw this transformation during his 3-year century drought between 2019 and 2022. For over 1,000 days, the world obsessed over his lack of 100, while he quietly continued to refine his game. When he finally reached his 71st century at the Asia Cup, the trademark aggressive roar was missing. Instead, he just laughed. For a player whose identity was once tied to aggressive celebrations, that moment signaled a departure. He wasn't reacting to the scoreboard or the years of criticism. He was simply existing in the moment, unburdened by the milestone. Kohli navigated the flawed system his father warned him about, survived the crushing pressures of the modern game, and established a new physical and mental benchmark for the sport. He didn't just meet the standards of his era, he defined them.